Yo, what is up, Fight Fam? It's your boy JB, and I'm back here again with another episode of the African Fighters Podcast. This is episode 3, ladies and gentlemen, and we had quite an eventful weekend, and this is what we are going to chop and talk about. With me again for the third time in a row, it's none other than my boy, all the way from Lagos, Toby Aderemi. Toby, what's up? Okay, I think from the get-go we are having some technical issues. Don't seem to be able to hear from Toby. Toby, if you can hear me, can you just wave at me? All right, so Toby has left the stream. So what I'm going to do is I would continue talking about the topics that we have arranged, and when Toby comes back, we would he would just plug with me. So, all right then, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, let's talk about Easy trolling Dracos du Plessis. Then, also knowing that, oh, Toby is back, guys. What's up, Toby?
I'm good. What's up?
Ah,
Nice to be
I
here
don't know what
again.
happened.
Sorry about the network issue.
Yeah, no wahala. Na Naija you dey now. Ladies and gentlemen, again another introduction. Singer, songwriter, African Fighters podcaster. It is Toby Adiremi. Toby, how are you and how is Lagos, my brother?
Lagos is good. We keep managing. Thank God. Happy celebrations to my Muslim friends and everybody listening. Even though nobody sent me any celebration package for
Bros, bros.
today.
You send us any Ramadan package? You know, send us anything now. Anyways, guys,
But
please, we apologize about the technical mishaps. These things tend to happen. We are in 2023 and AI is blowing up, but technical difficulties is still a thing. I can see that we have three whole people watching us. So that's a good starter because we haven't been on a live stream for a very, very long time. I think it's been over a year. We do pre-recorded podcast and we put it out there, but today we are fortunate enough to have three people watching us. So ladies and gentlemen, or all the gentlemen, all the three gentlemen, actually four gentlemen in the live stream, we appreciate you guys. All right, so we are just going to jump straight into it. So how this is going to happen today is Toby is going to talk about the headlines, introduce the headlines, and then I share my opinion and he shares his, and then we keep it moving like that. And Toby, can you kick us off with the first topic? That is, if you are not frozen again.
all right, I'm not frozen. I'm here. Let's get right into it. Easy Adesanya wants Dracos to Plessis, and I'm sure every other person does. All right, the two of them are back at it again, almost like Tom and Jerry at this point. First of all, we knew everybody knows like Dracos had the surgery with the nose and everything, and he's been going on and about how he has gone from 8% oxygen to I don't know how many now, but Easy obviously is not buying it. Took to Twitter to share his opinion about the whole issue, kind of trolling Dracos, telling him that, look at my own nose, like blah blah blah. Feels like everything is exaggerated. So I don't know. What do you think about the whole scenario, first of all? Do you think Dracos
Well,
is exaggerating the whole issue with his
no.
nose?
So I'll take you guys back. Yeah, a lot of people don't, because if you follow the freestyle bender, all his fight reactions and all that, I believe Drake fought on the John Jones and the French guy card, and I think Drake was close to the prelims or something. Anyway, so Drake was because when you watch Dricos fight, he's a bit unorthodox with his style. It doesn't really look well packaged, but it is very effective, right? Hence why his win record. So he one thing that people talk about is the fact that his mouth is always opened, right? He's always gasping for air. And I remember there was a I think there was a fight before this one, before his last fight, where DC was talking about it, and DC mentioned when he met Dricos in the back, or I believe it probably is the fighter meeting at the back. He told DC that, I am not tired when you see my mouth opened. That is how I am. So, um, when Freestyle Bender in his reviews, he did mention that Dracos does drunken style when he fights because of how unorthodox he is with the movement and all that. And we know Dracos is a K1 kickboxer. So we know the striking is there, and he's really a good grappler because he's got a couple of submissions in his victories in MMA. So um I actually do believe that he doesn't breathe very well, 8%, whatever percentage it's going to be. But when it comes to Dracos versus Easy, I think even if Dracos is breathing like 120%, when it comes to striking, they are not on the same level. Easy is very, very talented. So I don't think the oxygen excuse would help. And we've seen a lot of people try to grapple with Easy, and Easy's takedown defense is very solid. So what I saw Easy posted is just Easy just trolling. And you see these little wrinkles that they are dropping, all these tweets going back and forth. I think it's just compelling storytelling, in the sense that two people actually don't like each other. Two people, well, I would say Easy doesn't like him because Easy made it clear that he doesn't like him. But we are yet to see Draco say, I don't like you, Easy. But two people probably don't like each other. And there is the underlining racial thing going on that is quite sensitive, that makes the story even more juicier. So when time comes to tell the story completely, that is when to complete the story per se, when Easy fights Tricos, all these wrinkles that are dropping, all this trolling that Easy is doing, it will just come together, and then would have a beautiful story, would have a beautiful event that would draw a lot of numbers. But my people say Hanzari Hanzari Baguduba in Hausa. It means that no be say we dey rush make we reach the fight, because we kind of sound like we are overlooking Whitaker. So um Whitaker is going to fight Jacobs for the title eliminator, as we know, and the odds are not out yet, the betting odds, but I'm pretty sure that Whitaker will be the favorite because of how talented he is as well. Um, Well, another thing is we know that Easy wants this fight. He wants him bad, bad. So, what was the question you asked me again? I believe I've answered it and I went on a ramble.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to know if you thought like he was exaggerating the stuff with his nose and his breathing.
Oh, I don't think it's exaggerated, but I don't think it really matters in the fight. So, how about you? Do you think it's been
To be
exaggerated?
fair, I don't actually. I don't because like when you watch him fight, for someone with his talent, the way his mouth is always very wide open. I don't know. Sometimes it works in his favor because the opponents can see it as a sign of, they think maybe he's weak or he's tired, he's gassed, and he's actually not. So if you go in there blindly, he will catch you. He's very talented. Um, just as you said, I'm not sure it matters a lot because it's not like Adesanya is going to be a pressure fighter that wants to actually work on your cardio. He just wants to pick his spots, piece you apart one by one. So I don't think it matters honestly, just like you do. And for the Whitaker fight, oof, that's one of the most difficult fights they could have given him. I was hoping they'll give him Vettori because I feel like his chances against Vettori will be better. But Robert Whitaker, that's Whitaker is a man on a mission. He said he tweeted after the Pereira fight with Adesanya, he felt like if Adesanya could come back, after losing so many times to Pereira, he could do the same to Adesanya, and so he already has this vision in his head. Personally, for the story we are building in Africa, I want Dracos to win. But it's going to be a really, really tough fight. I can't even call
Speaking
this one.
about speaking about wanting Dracos to win, not just too long ago, there was a tweet. Ladies and gentlemen, my screen is here, so I'm not being mean. So the tweet was about. Sorry, I'm gonna use my phone. So Dracos tweeted just earlier today, and he said, I quote, "So you say I haven't earned my title shot yet? Hold my beer and watch this. Hashtag prepare to be amazed. South African flag emoji. Hashtag UFC 290." So now Adesanya, as a troll that he is, replied that tweet with just two words. He simply said, "Please win." So you were talking about winning. So Izzy clearly wants the victory of Dracos because he wants that Dracos fight. Because why wouldn't he? He had already fought Whitaker twice. He wants something exciting. So is everybody else. I don't want to say. So here's something again. Here's another wrinkle into this story again. After UFC 290, the winner Whitaker versus Dracos is going to fight Izzy in Australia. I believe it to be Sydney, Australia. So it would be perfect for Easy to fight Whitaker again over there because we remember the last time with all the entrance that Easy did with the knockouts and the coming out party. That's when he unified both the interim and the middleweight title. It just makes sense for Whitaker to fight him because if Whitaker doesn't fight him, do you think the fans in Australia are going to boo him and cheer the South African? So that is another factor. Um, a win-win for us African fans and everybody here at African Fighters is to see Dricus versus Easy on African soil, be it in South Africa or Senegal. So yeah, so what do you think about the tweet basically, and then we round up this
Well,
topic?
and all right, as you said, for us to see it on African soil will be massive. And from everything they've been saying, UFC Africa is still quite, a while away. I feel like if they fight the first time, Dracos and Easy, if Dracos should win, then we'll definitely still get an opportunity to see them fight on African soil because I feel like Easy will get a mandatory rematch somehow, some way, because I feel like he's earned it. But if they fight once before then and Easy wins, which is very possible, then it kind of like ruins the whole story for us in Africa. So I don't know. I feel like we need to hope and pray that I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to see it in Africa. I feel like it would be massive in Africa.
Yes, the perfect story for us is Easy versus Dricus in Africa. I prefer Senegal to South Africa for it to happen. But yeah, mostly because I want to go to Senegal myself. So let's move to the next topic, guys. And over to you, Toby. What are we talking about?
All right, so popular Ghanaian super middleweight boxer Sena Abeku has come out and is visibly frustrated. He had the opportunity to compete at one of the biggest fight cards of the year. Talk about that later. Garcia versus Davies. Um, so for some reason, he has claimed political reasons. He got taken off the fight card. He couldn't get the Nevada licensing, association to give him a license to fight. In the interviews he's done, he's been very distraught, and it feels like they're playing politics with his career, which is very sad to hear. I just feel like the whole situation is a very messy situation, and I'd like to know your opinion. Do you think maybe there's an underlying cause, or is he crying wolf? Maybe,
Okay,
do you
so
think there's any truth to what he's saying?
well, if you look at the fight that David Morel had, regardless Morel Jr. had yesterday in the undercard of that is the undercard of Tank versus Garcia. It was a third round KO. It was like the guy that he fought. short notice replacement for Abeku. The guy that he fought was very, very green, no defense at all. It was an embarrassing thing to put on TV. Anyways, boxing fans are already used to that. So boxing fans are already used to seeing like one fighter extremely better than the other. So that kind of solidifies what Agbeko was complaining about. Because Agbeko was complaining about that the camp of Morel wanted to fight somebody easier because the guy Morel is ducking a competitive fight. As we know, Agbeko is currently. I'm just going to pull up his record. 27 victories, 2 losses, and he's currently on a 4-fight win streak. So, um, what Abeko mentioned in, I think in one of these boxing YouTube channels, he said, um, Morel Junior's camp heard about how good Agbeko was looking in sparring or in training in his training camp, and they are trying to avoid the fight. So I believe that's the politics that he's talking about. The camp of Morel Jr. where I'm just going to read something here. And I quote, ladies and gentlemen. In a statement, Agbeko said, even before we received the first MRI scan, my opponent's team were already out on social media claiming I had failed my neurological tests when no doctor had stated that. They are going with an easier, lesser ranked opponent on short notice because they received reports on how well I was doing and how much of a threat I could be, and they couldn't afford getting their plans derailed. I'm just collateral damage in a big old game, portions of Abeko's statement said. So I really don't know how true this is, but to be honest, he had a point in the sense that Morel Jr. fought a lesser opponent. By the way, Morel looked beautiful with those beautiful strikes, but I could easily say that if a fighter is talented and he fought somebody that is less talented than him, but it was not really a nice thing. It was just like an exhibition for Morel Jr., which I don't know if that's what his camp wanted from the whole debacle. So yeah, I really don't know too much. Boxing is very, 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 very dirty. So I wouldn't be
Shady.
surprised if
Yeah.
yeah, if this had happened for real, for real. But
Hey.
hey, voila, Nepa don't carry light to.
Hey. Oh, Pepper.
Don't worry, we can still see you. You can put flashlight on your face.
You can still see me. All right. Uh,
Ladies and gentlemen, Nepa just carry
Wahala.
light to. Anyway, so yeah, speaking about Abeko, well, I don't know.
Mhm.
They say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But you tell me, what do you think? Do you think there is validity in what he was saying?
Um, okay, so first of all, like for him to claim like there's dirty politics involved, it makes sense because the news about him failing his test came out from the other camp before it came out from him. That's one. Two is to go as far as getting a second opinion within days, and then they are saying, okay, even though the second opinion comes in early enough, we still want to do a different fight. I know they are going to run it back eventually. I feel like Morel just wants enough time to actually prepare himself because what he bargained for, he was probably going to get more than what he bargained for with Agbeko. And he's a very, very good fighter, Agbeko. But I feel like boxing is becoming too there's too much of this in boxing, and I just feel sorry for him because things like this don't really go away. People might want to start thinking that okay, he has an issue. He actually has a medical issue when he actually doesn't have anything. Because the specialist he spoke to that gave him a second opinion said he doesn't even understand why. He doesn't even understand why they brought the case to him. Like he can't see anything. He just said, okay, come back next year and check again if there's anything. But I can't see anything. So it's I feel like he's saying the truth, and they'll probably run it back maybe in the next 6 months. I don't know when they've had enough time to prepare for him.
Yeah. Yeah, while we're still on the topic of boxing, why don't we just conclude on this boxing and speak about the next topic that you are going to present, my brother?
All right. We just spoke about the undercard, and the main card was Ryan Garcia getting his first career loss to Tank Davis. Tank Davis, obviously from the camp of Mayweather. Um, this was. I feel like the hype was a little bit too much for this fight because a lot of people expected Davis to win. Um, I think Garcia had 2 rounds that was given to him on the scorecards. He was losing the fight. Technically, he wasn't on the same level with Garcia. But it's boxing, and they promoted the show well enough, and they both made a lot of money from the fight. I feel like Garcia needs a lot of work before he's on the level of Davies, and I wasn't too shocked by the defeat. How about you?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with saying this. Boxing fans, I salute you guys because it's very hard to be a boxing fan. The fact that this is one of the biggest spectacle we've seen in a while when it comes to boxing, where somebody in his A game versus somebody in his A game, that is somebody in the prime of his career, young fighter versus another young fighter in his prime, who is going to be the new face of boxing, who is going to be the this type of big drawing power like Madison Square Garden selling out like a million pay-per-view, those type of things. We don't get those on boxing. Imagine the fights like in the heavyweights, these four guys that are constantly issues with negotiations from this camp to this camp to broadcasting rights to agreements with TV, all this nonsense. Bro, boxing fans, I salute you guys. It was quite entertaining to see like from the build up of the fight. It looked very fun the whole fight weekend. It was like a huge spectacle. I would love for boxing to have at least five of this in a year. You understand? So that is one. Two, we know that Ryan was the underdog coming here. But with regards to his performance, we I would say nobody, me my included, would have seen him going out with like a body shot. You understand? TKO by body shot.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
thought maybe
yeah,
Tank would knock him out or they'll just take it to unanimous decision because as you could see like in the fight like Tank was like winning most of the rounds. So and there was a 10-8 in there where he knocked him down in the second. So my opinion, yeah, I just ranted about my opinion. But there is no shame in losing to Tank. Ryan Garcia is very extremely talented. Moving forward, there's still also there's the fact of like the hydration clause that was in there and the weight cut and all that because physically Garcia is bigger than Tank, hence why it was a catchweight fight. There was nothing on the line. So, do you think, I'm just going to throw a question back at you. Do you think if these guys did not, if Ryan did not get to cut that much water weight or cut that much weight, do you think, and obviously because of the clause, he didn't recover well after the weight cut. Do you think if he was like, if he properly recovered, if he did not cut weight that much or whatever, do you think he could beat Javante, or do you think Davis is
Uh,
just too good for him?
honest, honest answer, I'll still say no. But I don't think Davies will have dominated the fight as much as he did if they didn't have the whole cut with everything. But because like they're calling it a liver shot, I still don't understand how he got knocked out by a body shot. Like you don't see that very often. So maybe that played a part in the whole dehydration stuff and him having to cut a lot of weight. Maybe that played a part in him going down to a body shot. But I feel like even if they fought at their natural way, like Garcia, it just didn't seem to be comfortable like striking with like Davis just seems to be faster. It seems to be his counter punching was on a different level. And then we all know that Garcia, okay, he wants to hit you with the left hook, he wants to hit you with the left hook. But Davis is a southpaw and he just kept evading it. And then if you try to lunge, he will hit you with it. So his counter punch is obviously is Mayweather gives him a lot of tips and everything in training, so the counter punching is really, really strong. I don't think Garcia will be able to beat him, even if they have a rematch.
So so I know David Haney is going to fight Loma uh in next month, March. Sorry, May. I think mid of May, like this. I think maybe second weekend of May or third weekend of May. Let's say Haney wins that fight. Do you think we would actually finally get this fight that everybody is clamoring for, like Tank versus Haney? Because again,
I don't.
I don't really follow this lightweights very, very well because because uh, I'm really, really a boxing casual. I really, really don't like how matchmaking is very difficult in boxing. But I don't know. Do you think the matchmaking would actually happen and Tank will fight Haney?
There's so much involved in their matchmaking, and it's because there's a lot of money involved as well. But I think this is the most active Tank has been since 2017. He took this fight with Garcia pretty early. So even if we're going to get that fight, it's going to be quite some time before it happens. And I honestly can't figure out boxing matchmaking, so I don't know. They might just not have it for maybe
All right,
somebody can,
all
like
right,
with
all right,
Fury, somebody can come up with something to say, and that's the end.
all right. Let's just leave boxing like that. Let's go back to our bread and butter. So yeah, why don't you talk to us about this?
Right now, the Bellator Grand Prix just ended. Mix defeated Super Stots, Rayon Stots for the $1 million prize. Um, this was one of the most shocking knockouts you will see this year. Um, our boy Rafeon Stots, we interviewed him on the African Fighters before the fight. It was looking good. I don't know where he came from. To be very honest, I was I was shocked to see. Lost the fight, and Pachi is the champion. Pachi has won the Grand Prix. What do you have to say about that knockout? First of all, like candidate for
Yeah,
knockout
so
of the
that
year for you.
knockout, unfortunately, the knockout happened to somebody that I adore, somebody that supports the African fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had Rafeon's thoughts on African fighters interview for the record 3 times. Nobody has ever been interviewed 3 times. So, our thoughts and prayers and support again out to Rafeon's thoughts. But I'm pretty sure Rafeon himself would be a fan of that knockout because that was a very beautiful timed knee. I did not even get myself to watch it again, but it was beautiful because I can't remember very well. Did he like throw a jab and then because sort of like how Kamaru Usman ducks to the right when when so just like when
Exactly. He was moving towards
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It's just like when Leon Edwards knocked out Kamaru because Usman was ducking to the side and then his guard was away from his face. So the same as Stutz. Stutz is a wrestler. I think it's something with wrestlers. So uh, Pachi just threw a jab and came up with any. It looks like something that they've drilled over and over and over and over again in camp. I'm sure you ask me what do I think about the knockout. I'm sure even Rafion Stotts himself will be like, "Ha, this motherfucker got me." Yeah, that was a good setup and a good knee. But I was ready to watch all 5 rounds because I thought that Rafion would drag him into the deep waters as he can do with his incredible gas tank. I was really, really rooting for Rafion, but shout out to Patchy Mix for that beautiful knockout. But what do you think about the knockout itself first, and then you can give me your opinion about everything that comes after?
All right. First of all, as you said, you seem to be leaning towards it, and when you're moving towards the shot that is going to kill you, if it connects, it's almost impossible to do anything about. I didn't want Scott to lose that fight. So this one actually hurts. But uh, ah, first of all, like I would have expected it if you told me Pachimix will win the fight, I would have expected him to choke out Stots or some sort of submission. So to get such a purely timed knee from someone who is not necessarily the most talented striker was kind of it's what makes the knockout even more special. But yeah, sorry to laugh your start. That's all I can say. But yeah, he fought well all through
Another
the Grand
interesting
Prix.
thing that would have happened. Yeah, sorry. Another interesting thing that would have happened was that Rafeon would have ended up fighting his friend, best friend, and teammate and partner, Sergio Pettis, to unify the interim and obviously the bantamweight title of Bellator. That would have not really had the build up that fans would have wanted because there is no animosity in it. But now, with the fact that Sergio Pettis now would obviously unify the title with Pachi Mix, this would he probably would come out with vengeance for Rafeon Stots, and we probably would see Rafeon Stots in his corner. I'm pretty sure if you would ask Rafeon Stots himself, he would wanna get back in there again. But with a knockout like that, do you think he deserves another title shot or a rematch? Let's say maybe Pachi Mix go ahead and fight Sergio Pettis for the title.
Do I didn't hear you clearly. You said, do I think Rafeon Stott deserves another title shot?
Yeah, what do you think he deserves a rematch? Because he lost a title, and the title is the interim title, even though it's not like the
The
undisputed,
interim fight
the
too.
proper
Yeah,
title.
yeah.
Yeah, so like he lost the title. He had like a long winning streak. He's been winning, defeating like legends, Russian grapplers that nobody wanna fight. And like after all his hard work, I don't think it's fair for it to crumble just like that. Um, he had like this incredible fight with Sabatelli. Well, incredible fight, but it was like one of those um fights that was very interesting from a judge's point of view. So yeah, so after all his journey, I think he deserves to get in there, even though he was knocked out like that. I think he deserves to get in there, but I'm pretty sure Pachi would not fight him until he tries to unify the title with Pettis.
I I I
Again,
I think I think he deserves a shot, but I'm not sure if they're going to give it to him. If you remember his last fight against Sabatello, it was quite close, and some people say he shouldn't have won that fight. So to go from a very close fight where it feels like you got the decision, even though I think he won the fight, to losing in that manner, it's kind of difficult to make a case that he doesn't need to do any work before he gets another title shot. So I think he might have to fight somebody else who is really at the top. Then maybe he will now fight the winner of, you know, the unification bout.
well, I guess we'll wait to see about that. Shout out to Rafi and Superstot. Congratulations to Pichi Mix. Oh, whatever. Pachi Mix. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Keep your head up, champ. I'm talking about Rafi and Stotts. You get back in there again and get back into the winning column. All right. So an MMA fight that happened last night to another fight. This time we're going to the UFC prelims. Um, Usman, not Kamaru, the baby brother of Kamaru Usman, Mohammed Usman. He wins via unanimous decision. I forgot you were supposed to introduce this topic, but boy, you tell me what you think about Usman's performance, and then I'll tell you how I watched the fight. So you go first.
Um, it was an expected win, if you ask me, because Tafa is someone I'm not sure belongs in that category. Like just looking at like his history and the weight classes he has fought in, I'm not sure if that's the ideal weight class for him to be fighting to be competing in. I think he did what he was supposed to do. I expected him to finish the fight, but that didn't happen. I also loved the part where the camera caught him and Usman, Kamaru Usman trying to motivate his brother and everything. It was so awesome to watch. But yeah, I expected him to, to win the fight. He's very talented. Won the Ultimate Fighter. He's been on a very impressive streak, and I wanted to continue. So yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, yes, I was impressed. However, how I saw the fight was I was like, because he fought very early in the prelims, I was like watching, I think football or something, and then I remembered, shoot, it's Mohammed's fight. When I tuned in, it was already in the third round, and he was on top of Tafa. And it was at that point when Tafa scrambled back to his feet and started striking, and Usman was kind of coasting to obviously get the unanimous decision victory. Then I went back to see the whole fight, and what I could see straight up is like both fighters had like holes, big holes. Tafa is a striker. He's a kickboxer before prior to coming into the UFC. Um, he Mohammed Usman has some college wrestling background, just like his big brother Kamaru Usman. So the holes that each other had was like one was really good at wrestling, but meh at striking against this other guy, and then the other guy was really good at striking, but meh in wrestling compared to this other guy. So and then ultimately the wrestler always wins. We've seen it time and time again in the UFC. If you sit down and think about it, who are the champions? Most of them are wrestlers. So in a straight up MMA fight, wrestlers always win. Some casuals might find it boring, but uh yeah, I think Mohammed Usman does he belongs in the UFC heavyweights, among the UFC heavyweights. However, if he fights I feel if he fights a striker that's got really good takedown defense, it would be a bit of a long night for him. I also think that he is quite small for heavyweights. I think he knows he knows that he gives up a lot of size when it comes to the heavyweights. Um, but looking how shredded he is, I don't think he can lose weight. He can lose and go to light heavyweight because of how he is built. But yeah, I'm really happy for Mo. Um, the motor. I think that's how they say it in America. The motor. But what do you call a moto? Uh, yeah, very impressive victory. Would want to see him back in there again. It was very nice to see Kamaru Usman in his side, as he is always in Kamaru Usman's corner. Even though we know that Usman would have wanted to be in that boxing event because it was all in Las Vegas. I'm talking about the Tank and Garcia fight. It was both events were in Vegas. So one was in the UFC place thingy, that Performance Institute, and the other one was in I think Las Vegas. I don't forget what's the name of that their arena we did fighting capital. So yeah, good win for Mohammed Usman. I hope he comes to Nigeria next month for AKO Championship launch. I do know that Kamaru Usman is going to be there. If Mo is there, we'll try to get a few words from him. And yeah, you would be there too, right? Yeah, so
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Looking
I'm
forward to
just
it.
gonna do a cheap plug here again. Uh, AKO African Knockout are going to start their tournament in Nigeria. That's the MMA promotion that Kamaru Usman is heavily involved with. Kamaru Usman is going to be in Nigeria in 2 weeks from today, and yeah, hopefully Mo does not have any serious injuries and he would show up, and then we can try to get them on the African fighters. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. We have spoken about all the topics. And I just noticed that our stream got to 6 people before it went down to 3 people. And yes, thank you to those who were watching us. Shout out to my guy, my boy Saleh. I see you, Saleh. Shout out to Farouk. I'm sure Farouk is there watching. So whoever the third person is, shout out to you. But yeah, Toby, you got anything else to say before we leave?
I thought we were going to speak a little about Curtis Blades. Lost again to another power
Oh
puncher.
boy, oh boy, that's a good topic. Yep, here we go. Sorry, guys. Let's talk about Curtis Blades then. Um, you introduce the topic, please.
Yes, as I was saying, Curtis Blades, over time, it seems to be a thing with him. He doesn't do well against the guys who actually hit very heavy. He's lost to Ngannou twice, first round, lost to Derek Lewis. I kind of like called this, while doing the African fighters preview. I kind of like expected this loss somewhat because he doesn't really do well against people who hit hard. And the problem is, for someone who is such a talented wrestler, I was kind of disappointed in him in that fight because he didn't even attempt to really wrestle. He was already in trouble before he actually tried to wrestle, and that's not good. Just standing in front of somebody who actually excels at slugfest and trying to swing as hard as you can against somebody like
Um,
that. I
mhm.
couldn't understand the game plan. So I was going to ask you. I was having a discussion with a friend. Is it a stylistic problem for Curtis Blades, or do you think he just has a glass jaw?
He does not have a glass jaw because heavyweights are heavyweights for a reason. That's why they can grow up to 40 years while they are still fighting. Because they are weight class, one punch, bang, you are out. So the power is different in the heavyweights. And with the fact that he didn't wrestle, my brother, I saw it. It's very, very hard to keep up with consistency as a big guy and continue wrestling because it takes a lot of energy out of you. And this is the main event, 5 rounds. He cannot just come straight out of the gate because he's not Sabatelli. He cannot come out straight out of the gate and start shooting for takedowns. And with takedowns again, another factor is you have to set it up. You have to set it up by like mixing with striking and going and then shooting for the takedown, single leg or double leg. Remember when he was fighting Derek Lewis, he was mixing the striking and then he just went for a takedown and Derek Lewis caught him with the uppercut. That's Curtis Blades I'm talking about. So Curtis Blade definitely does not have a glass jaw. It's just that the heavyweights hit different. But I see what you mean. If I was a wrestler, I think the best strategy fighting a pure striker is to show him the takedown threat. So once the fight starts, I'll just land my first takedown, keep you there for like a minute, and then we get back to our feet. Now, as a striker, it's easy for me to say, guys, I'm not a fighter. But as a striker, then you have it registered in your head. This guy might shoot. This guy might shoot, and that would change the striking. So, like when I was watching the fight in the first round, I was like, dude, shoot, shoot, shoot for the takedown, because I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him. Um, yeah. Again, I don't think he has a glass jaw. Another thing I'm wondering now is the fact that Sergey now, Pavlovich now has like he's probably going to be ranked in the top three now. He has victories with Blades, Derek Lewis. Who was the third
He's on a
person?
streak.
Somebody.
I think he's on a 7 fight win streak. Is it seven
Yeah,
or
but like
six? I'm
he's
not
he's
sure.
having like first round finishes with like top guys. So
Yeah.
what do you think is next? I saw a couple of tweets that someone saying, he's going to beat John Jones. He's going to be too much for John Jones. Um, what do you think is next
Oh,
for him? Do you think obviously he has to wait for Jones to fight Miocic, and we know how heavyweight champions are or how UFC champions do. They fight once or twice a year because we've seen it from like when DC and Miocic did hot potato with the title. Then Francis Ngannou came, won the title, and then stayed away for like a year, and then now John Jones winning it, and Jones is okay with staying out until next what autumn or
yeah.
winter. So what do you think is next for Sergey Pavlovich?
All right. Okay. So I, I, I definitely think I think I saw his tweet from him or someone in his camp, something like that, saying he was willing to
Yeah,
wait
I must say this.
for
I
the
must
winner
say
of
this
that
before you go.
fight.
Please drop in the comment section, guys. Comment section. Who do you think Sergey Pavlovich should fight next after his defeat, his TKO victory with Curtis Blade? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, yes, as I was saying, I think he's already, come out to say that he's going to wait for the winner of that fight. I think there's no other person you can put in front of him right now in that division. Also, I don't think I don't think he's on the. I think okay. I think there's four very good heavyweights currently. Aside this really lengthy guy, I think Cyril Gane is still one of the best in that division. I think his loss to John Jones was very um, didn't show his qualities well. Then obviously there's John Jones. The way I see things and the way I'm hoping and praying for things, I think Ngannou is going to come back. I think that's where he belongs. He's going to struggle to really secure something really, really big boxing wise. Let's just face it, like it's too much of a danger for anybody to actually take that fight. He can actually kill you in the ring and end your career. And what do you gain in the process? Not very much apart from money.
You're
So
pulling
yeah,
me into
I
this
hope.
Francis Ngannou topic. Oh.
Okay, so let's leave that. And then there's also Stipe, who is probably the greatest heavyweight of all time. But currently, Gan is out of it because he just lost, and nobody's going to give. He's going to have to like put a couple of wins together to get back into the title conversation. So yeah, Pavlovich definitely will probably fight the winner of that one, except if John Jones loses, then we might get a rematch. So he might actually be waiting for 2 years. You never know with this heavyweight. You never really know.
Yeah, Tumbosun in the group chat just mentioned Cyril Gane or Tai, I believe that's Tai Tuivasa. So Pavlovich just defeated Tai Tuivasa first round TKO as well before this fight. But Cyril Gane, just
Right.
as Toby just mentioned now, Cyril Gane is coming out from two losses from two title opportunities, back-to-back title opportunities. He lost to Francis Ngannou, and then he lost to John Jones. So now the thing is, if he fights Sergey Pavlovich, he's just going to derail the guy's momentum into the title. Like he's going to cancel a contender. Meanwhile, he's not ready to contend for the title next. So if he beats, if Gan beats Sergey Pavlovich, what has he done? So I don't think Gan is in a position to fight that. Maybe if Gan goes back, fights somebody else, and then comes and fights uh Pavlovich, maybe then, because the heavyweight is not very the top of the heavyweight does not move very frequently because of how the least amount of times that the top dogs fight there. So like there's constantly no clear contender except for Sarji now. So yeah, shout out to Tumbosun. Thanks for dropping that. So yeah, I believe with these guys, I think we are going to call it quits or call it a day. You've got any words? Let's do this again, Toby. You've got any word for us before we go back and watch NBA playoffs? Golden State Warriors thrashing Sacramento Kings as we speak in the game four. Uh,
Are you serious?
you've got
Oh my
anything?
god.
You've got anything?
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to do this again next week.
Yeah, same guys. We are going to constantly do live streams now. We would like to have you guys join the conversation. Um yeah, shout out to Tumbosu again. He did mention something else that he said it's not a deep division. Yeah, so yeah, next week, same time, same place. We are going to do it again. I remain your humble host of the African Fighters podcast, and this is the African Fighters. Like, subscribe, do all the good things for us, ladies and gentlemen, and we out.
Come on, Africans!